Did the Denver Nuggets actually hold Michael Porter Jr. back during his tenure in the Mile High City? And despite losing Shedeur Sanders and the reigning Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter, do the Colorado Buffaloes actually have a better roster heading into the 2025 season? All things to come on today's rundown, but we will begin in the NBA, where we got a heartfelt farewell from now former Denver Nuggets forward Michael Porter Jr. He did a farewell episode of Curious Mike and posted a video onto his social media, basically putting a bow on his tenure here in the Mile High City. He spoke for about 11 minutes, and over the course of that 11 minutes, he covered a lot of ground. He began by giving very heartfelt thank yous to the likes of Stan Kroenke and Josh Kroenke and Tim Connolly, who is the main voice behind the group that took a chance on a guy in Michael Porter Jr., who struggled with injuries and was a fringe lottery pick there at 14th overall, but had he not dealt with some of those health issues, only playing one game at the University of Missouri in college, he may have been a top 3 to 5 pick in the NBA draft. Tim Connolly takes a chance on Michael Porter Jr., is willing to pay the requisite price and take the requisite time to invest in Michael Porter Jr., who missed a good chunk of his early NBA career as he recovered from various disc issues in his back. He dealt with drop foot and other lower body ailments. And fast forwarding all the way recently to his most recent year, his final season in Denver, where he's trying to play in the second round of the playoffs against the Oklahoma City Thunder with a severely sprained AC joint in his shoulder and really limiting his ability to shoot. And Michael Porter Jr. deserves a lot of credit for overcoming those. So he thanked Josh and Stan and Tim Connolly. He also spoke praise to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic for the dynamic that they have and helping him be a part of a championship core and contending team. But he also said a few things that raised a couple of eyebrows now that he's turning back the final page on his career here in Denver. And when he spoke about joining the Brooklyn Nets, he revealed something pretty interesting. He said, quote, "I'm really excited for this next chapter in Brooklyn. Over in Denver, I felt like my ceiling had plateaued. I want to grow my game. I don't want to plateau. I want to keep getting better throughout my career." I found that particularly interesting. The concept that the Nuggets, by virtue of their roster construction and their setup on both ends of the court, was a limiting factor that prevented us from seeing the best from Michael Porter Jr., because that is very contrary to the narrative that was generated around the former Nuggets forward during his post-NBA championship time here in Denver. It was more that his inconsistencies as a shooter, when his shot just wasn't falling consistently enough, it was that the ball kind of stopped moving once it got to him, that he had the reputation for maybe cherry picking in the corner or off on the wing, waiting for the ball to come to him so that he can be a catch and shoot kind of player, and maybe some health concerns that limited him, especially toward the end. It was those things in the eyes of a lot of fans that kept us and the Nuggets from seeing the best and the top of what Michael Porter Jr.'s peak could be. And I think that led to a lot of frustration. So now, from the mouth of MPJ himself, you hear that he felt that it was the Nuggets' style of play and the way that he was set up within their starting five that really prevented him from being anything more than a hit or miss catch and shoot player. He talked about how potent and over-encompassing the two-man game between Jokic and Murray can be, and how predominant that is in the offense without a real place for him to contribute as much as he would like to. He talked about not wanting to get stagnant, and we had felt that, right? We had felt that things with the Nuggets and that championship core had gotten a little stale. Just watching it with your own two eyes, it feels like you could have seen that, and then you hear things trickle out from the locker room and now from a former member of that quote-unquote core four. So I thought that was kind of interesting, hearing Michael Porter Jr. say that he didn't feel like he was getting the most out of himself or being all that he could be as a Denver Nugget, and that things had gotten stagnant not because of limitations within his own game, say that he was and could have converted on a higher percentage of his catch and shoot threes or been a more productive scorer had the two-man game with Jokic and Murray not been so dominant within the offense, and had he not been relegated in his mind to a third option or a catch and shoot player off in the corner. And not from the inconsistencies in his game, kind of the up and down mental aspect of Michael Porter Jr.'s game that I think we saw unfold, and unfortunately, health concerns and issues that he struggled with, particularly on the tail end of this last season. I found that to be a little bit interesting, and it's always, curious to hear that there's two sides to every story, and usually the truth lies somewhere in the middle. All Michael Porter Jr. went on to say after that was how excited he is to join Brooklyn and kind of reinvigorate his career, get a fresh start in a new place, and presumably, as we've seen other Nuggets do in the past, carve out what he hopes to be a larger role and a predominant presence within the offense where you're not, at best, the third option. But I will say that mindset from MPJ on a roster where he's playing alongside the best player in the world, in my opinion, in Nikola Jokic. And yes, since he does not play point guard, Michael Porter Jr., there is a two-man game between Jokic and Jamal Murray that helps facilitate and open up things for offense. But Jokic's calling card as a player, as a center, is a passer, is as a passer more than it is a scorer. He's clearly an unselfish pass-first player. So to say that the two-man game, unless he's maybe directing that more at Jamal for hogging up some of those opportunities, but I don't think there was any shortage of opportunities where Jokic tried to get the ball to Michael Porter Jr. because Jokic's MO on offense is to find the open man and get the ball in his hands. And we've seen him pass up clutch game-winning shot opportunities in favor of the Russell Westbrooks, the Christian Browns, the Aaron Gordons, the Michael Porter Jr.'s, and the Jamal Murrays that he could have taken himself because he tries to take the smart basketball play and give it to the man who has a higher percentage opportunity in theory. So I'm not 100% on board with the notion that the Nuggets, with their style of offense, were holding Michael Porter Jr. back, but it does sound like he feels a little bit that way and is hoping for a breakaway or release from that now that he is in Brooklyn. He is a member of the franchise's first championship team. He was a core contributor in that. He is a true homegrown success story by NBA terms, given everything he struggled with coming into the NBA with health and injuries and the like, and then having to battle through that when the competition is at the highest of the high and the pressure is turned up as high as it can possibly go in the game of basketball, to not only overcome that, but overcome that to be a key contributor on a title team, a title-winning core that he was a part of. He deserves all the credit in the world for that, and I think that he should be, by and large, remembered fondly for some of that and not let the last couple of years sour that notion. In the world of college football, Coach Prime, as he often does, found himself a microphone at Big 12 Media Day, and he did not disappoint once he stepped in front of it. He talked in front of the Big 12 Media press corps and then also found himself in front of ESPN. When asked about replacing Shedeur and Travis, he said, quote, "Nobody can fill those shoes. They were great players, but we have a better team. It's a difference between great players and a great team. We have a better team, but we can never replace those types of players." Interesting thought, right? Because you have your former starting quarterback, who happens to be the son of your head coach, who was, even if he was maybe not worthy of a number retirement, a jersey retirement for his time here in Colorado and in Boulder in your mind, he was arguably the best starting quarterback the Buffs had had in 1 decade, 2 decades, a significant length of time that is subjective to your own thoughts and opinions. Shedeur fit that mold. And you have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, the second Heisman Trophy winner in Colorado Buffalo's history, in Travis Hunter, who played on both sides of the ball. So replacing those two players in theory is a tall task. And so I liked what Coach Prime had to say about it not just being about replacing those two players and that they maybe have a stronger team. Because if that's the truth, then the Buffs are going to be much better for it. And I think that's their path forward as they continue to contend. When he's looking forward at his roster in 2025, Coach Prime said it may take 3 players on offense to replace Travis Hunter. It may take 2 players to replace Shedeur Sanders. And that's what we brought here in Caden Salter and Juju Lewis. So we feel like we have a better defense for sure, a better offense, more understanding of the schemes, collectively, offensively and defensively, because each coach here is in their second year in the scheme. That's something that's worth note as well, that as has been the case for the majority of Coach Prime's tenure, there's a lot of turnover, especially in the player department, but even to a certain degree in the personnel department over his 2 and going into 3 years up in Boulder. And now you have less turnover in that regard from a coaching staff perspective, and Pat Shurmur and Livingston and Coach Prime can enter another year together, and you add in potentially other options like Byron Leftwich and Mike Zimmer, who have not joined the team as of now, but the rumor and the speculation has been ongoing for months that they will be a part of Colorado's program this football season when the balls are kicked off. And that's going to be helpful. And you did lose Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. You also lost plenty of depth, quality depth, and players at the wide receiver position. But in this ever-changing landscape of college football, where it's all about restocking and reloading to run it back year after year after year, Coach Prime is just as well equipped as any to work the transfer portal and to bring in whatever top talent is available and at his fingertips and affordable within the range that he can spend in the college football landscape. If what Coach Prime says is true, and the Colorado Buffaloes, despite not having the top-tier individual talent like Shedeur and Travis, but have the better team overall, then the Colorado Buffaloes are on the right track to exceed their win total of right around 6 or 6.5. Because I will say this, if the Colorado Buffaloes are going to contend for a Big 12 title the way that they were last season and had it on the doorstep with the runway lights on and then fumbled it, starting with that game against Kansas where Devin Neal ran rampant all over the Colorado Buffaloes defense. And if they are going to take the next step and make a college football playoff appearance, either as a conference winner in the Big 12 or as an at-large bid, then the sum of the parts for Coach Prime CU Buffs is going to have to be greater than some of the top individuals. We saw what they were capable of when you had 2 top-tier talents at the collegiate level in Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders and a reasonable, solid, respectable team around them. But now, without those, under the tutelage of Caden Salter and Juju Lewis, everybody else is going to have a higher collective rising tide in order to keep this team on pace and avoid a regression in a conference that's up for grabs and, frankly, not as difficult as some of the other conferences in college football, primarily the Big Ten and the SEC. So I hope, genuinely, that what Coach Prime said into a microphone at Big 12 Media Day is the true evaluation of the Colorado Buffaloes and that they have a better roster than they had last year, despite not having the flashy top-end talent that we saw depart for the NFL draft. So many more things to come in a jam-packed sports summer with Nuggets free agency, the up-in-the-air nature of the Jonas Valanciunas trade still not being finalized as of now, the Avalanche free agency, which has been quiet thus far, but with $4.1 million in cap space remaining, still a couple of moves to be made, particularly on that third line. Broncos training camp is right around the corner. We are closing in on a week and a half, 2 weeks before the orange and blue hit the training camp practice field once again, and we see what the sophomore season under Bo Nix is like. And, of course, in the back of our minds, we are all following the Colorado Rockies and their pursuit to 100 losses for what would be a 4th consecutive season. All things we will keep tabs on, and we will have it here for you on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, at denversports.com, and across all of our social channels. Like and subscribe to our YouTube page at Denver Sports 104.3. Follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you consume social media content. We have it there for you at Denver Sports 104.3, at DEN Sports 104.3. We'll catch you tomorrow.
I do what I love what I do. It's second nature to put in the work.